Dr. Zara Valthine pressed her six-fingered hand against the observation deck's crystalline viewport, her iridescent scales shifting colors with excitement as she watched the blue planet rotate below. The research vessel Celestial Seeker had been monitoring this newly discovered world for 3 lunar cycles, and each day brought more inexplicable findings that challenged everything she thought she knew about evolution. "Doctor, you need to see this," called out her assistant, Crix, his antenna twitching with agitation. The holographic display flickered to life, showing footage from their latest drone survey. "We've detected another impossible species." Zyra moved closer, her crystalline eyes adjusting to focus on the image of a small, octopedal creature suspended in a gossamer web. "Explain." "This arachnid species has developed a way to create metamaterial fibers stronger than our best synthetic cables, yet flexible enough to catch flying prey. The molecular structure shouldn't be possible in nature, but..." Crix manipulated the display, zooming in on the spider's spinnerets. "It's completely organic, no technological intervention." Zyra made a soft clicking sound, her species equivalent of a thoughtful hum. "Add it to the list. Right after the avian that can mimic any sound it hears and the amphibian that can freeze solid and resurrect itself." The list had grown exponentially since they'd begun their survey. Earth, as the natives called it, defied every classification protocol in the Galactic scientific database. Species after species displayed abilities that, on any other world, would have required centuries of genetic engineering to achieve. "Captain Morden requests your presence in the command center," the ship's AI announced. "Priority 1. Zyra found the captain standing rigid before a wall of monitors, his normally stoic features betraying concern. "Doctor, we've observed something disturbing." The screens showed various scenes from around the planet. A human handling a reptile that could kill with a single bite, another swimming alongside massive predatory fish, children playing near insects that could deliver painful stings, researchers extracting venom from creatures that could paralyze with a touch. "They're not just surviving alongside these biological weapons," Captain Morden said, his voice tight. "They're actively interacting with them, studying them, living with them." "Biological weapons?" Zyra challenged, her scales flickering with academic irritation. "Captain, these are naturally evolved species." "That's what makes it worse." He gestured to another screen showing a human rehabilitating an injured raptor. "Do you know what this means? These humans have evolved on a planet where nearly everything has developed some form of advanced defense mechanism. Their entire history is one long arms race with nature itself." Zyra watched the footage with growing fascination. Where her colleagues saw danger, she saw something extraordinary. "Or perhaps it's a dance," she suggested. "A coevolution that's produced something unique in the galaxy." The ship's alert system suddenly blared to life. "Multiple biological signatures approaching the cloaked observation post in Sector 7, the AI reported. They rushed to the tactical display. The hidden observation post had been carefully placed in what they thought was an isolated mountain region. Now, the sensors showed a group of humans approaching, accompanied by several large mammals. "They're tracking something," Crix reported, analyzing the data. "The mammals with them, they appear to be using chemosensory capabilities that rival our best detection equipment." They watched in amazement as the humans and their animal companions worked in perfect coordination, following an invisible trail that led them closer and closer to the cloaked post. "Impossible," Captain Morden whispered. "Our cloaking technology should be undetectable." "And yet," Zyra said, her scales now pulsing with excitement, "they found us. Not through technology, but through a partnership with local species that evolved natural capabilities to detect anomalies in their environment." The captain turned to her, his expression grave. "You realize what this means? We're not just dealing with a planet of biological weapons. We're dealing with a species that has learned to work with them, understand them, and use their capabilities in ways we never imagined possible." Zyra began composing her report to the Galactic Council in her mind. How could she make them understand that what they were witnessing wasn't a threat, but perhaps the most remarkable example of adaptive cooperation the galaxy had ever seen? "We should classify this world as a danger zone," Captain Morden declared. "Recommend immediate quarantine protocols." "No," Zyra countered, her scales now glowing with determination. "What we should do is learn from them. These humans haven't just survived in an environment we would consider lethal, they've created a civilization that works in harmony with it. Do you understand how revolutionary that is?" Before the captain could respond, another alert sounded. The humans and their animal companions had reached the observation post. Instead of showing fear or aggression, they were setting up what appeared to be research equipment of their own. They're not hunting us, Crix realized, analyzing their behavior. They're studying us. Zyra felt a surge of professional pride. Of course they were. On a planet where every species had evolved extraordinary capabilities, curiosity and scientific inquiry would have been essential survival traits. Captain, she said, her voice firm, I request permission to establish a new research protocol. We need to understand not just what makes Earth species unique, but how humans have managed to turn what we see as weapons into partners. The captain stared at the monitors for a long moment before nodding slowly. Granted, but the council won't like this. The council, Zyra replied, her scales shimmering with anticipation, is about to discover that everything we thought we knew about biological evolution and interspecies cooperation is about to change. As she returned to her laboratory, Zyra couldn't help but feel that they were standing on the brink of something revolutionary. Earth wasn't just another world to study, it was a lesson in possibility, a testament to the power of adaptation and cooperation. And somewhere below, a group of humans and their animal companions continued their investigation, unaware that they were about to change the galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be truly civilized. In her private log that evening, Zyra made a single entry. Perhaps we have been asking the wrong question. Instead of wondering how humans survived among such dangerous species, we should be asking what we could become if we learned to do the same. Professor Jun Nakamura stood before the Galactic Council's assessment committee, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays surrounding him. The chamber, hewn from living crystal in the heart of the Council's orbital station, hummed with tension as representatives from 100 worlds leaned forward in their gravity-suspended seats. Distinguished members of the Council, Jun began, adjusting his neural interface. My team's 6-month assessment of Earth's biological defense mechanisms has revealed something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. The holographic displays shimmered, showing footage from his research stations scattered across Earth. Each one had been carefully hidden using the most advanced cloaking technology available, yet all had been discovered by local wildlife within weeks of deployment. First, he continued, I must correct our initial assumptions. We believed Earth's creatures had evolved excessive defensive capabilities. We were wrong, they evolved necessary ones. Counselor Vexna, her crystalline form refracting light in patterns of skepticism, interrupted. Necessary. Professor, your own reports show creatures capable of producing temperatures that rival stellar surfaces, toxins that could devastate entire ecosystems, and defensive mechanisms that violate our understanding of physics. Jun smiled, triggering another holographic sequence. Watch this footage from Research Station Omega, located in what humans call the Amazon rainforest. The display showed Dr. Zyra Valthine, who had joined his research team after her initial discovery, working alongside his lead field researcher, Dr. Raj Patel. They were documenting a complex interaction between 12 different species, each with what the Council would classify as weapons-grade capabilities. What appears to be excessive is actually precise ecological balance, Jun explained. Each species' defensive capabilities evolved in response to another's offensive adaptations. Remove any one of them, and the entire system begins to collapse. The council chamber erupted in murmurs as he displayed mathematical models demonstrating the delicate interconnections. Jun noticed Ambassador Xylith, representing the militant Arcturian Empire, making rapid notes with his neural stylus. But the most remarkable discovery, Jun continued, involves human adaptation to this environment. He nodded to his assistant, Dr. Hanako Yashida, who activated a new series of displays. Humans didn't just survive among these creatures, they learned from them. Their medical science is based on studying venoms and toxins. Their engineering draws inspiration from biological defense mechanisms. Their architecture mimics the structural integrity of spider silk and insect colonies. He paused, letting the implications sink in. In other words, what we classify as weapons they view as teachers. Ambassador Xylith's voice cut through the chamber. Then they are more dangerous than we thought, a species that can weaponize such knowledge. With respect, Ambassador, Jun interrupted, his voice firm, you're proving my point about misclassification. Observe. The holographic display shifted to a scene from a human hospital. A doctor was treating a patient with a synthesized version of cone snail venom, carefully modified to act as a pain reliever more effective than anything in the council's medical database. This is Dr. Amara Akoro, Jun explained. She's developed treatments for neural diseases using modified spider venom. Her work has saved millions of lives. Another display activated, showing a young engineer named Marcus Wung working in his laboratory. Mr. Wung has developed new protective materials based on the defensive mechanisms of sea cucumbers and armadillos. His technology is used to protect against natural disasters, not wage war. Jun turned slowly, making eye contact with each council member. We came looking for weapons and found medicine. We expected warfare and discovered harmony. But perhaps most importantly, we found hope. Dr. Yashida stepped forward, adding her own findings. Our analysis shows that humans possess a unique neural adaptation. Where other species might develop fear or aggression in response to potentially dangerous organisms, humans developed curiosity and empathy. The chamber grew quiet as she displayed brain scan comparisons. They can form emotional bonds with creatures that other species would instinctively flee from. They rehabilitate injured predators, study venomous species to understand them better, and consistently choose cooperation over conflict when given the opportunity. Counselor Vexna's crystalline form shifted colors thoughtfully, yet our preliminary reports suggest they are capable of warfare. Yes, Jun acknowledged, they can fight when necessary, but it's not their first choice nor their defining characteristic. Their greatest achievements have come through partnership with the very creatures we feared. He activated one final display, showing a montage of human-animal interactions. Marine biologists swimming with sharks, herpetologists caring for venomous snakes, entomologists discovering new medicines by studying insect defense mechanisms, and children learning to respect and protect even the most dangerous species. My recommendation to the Council is this: reclassify Earth not as a threat, but as an opportunity. Their evolutionary path has given them a unique perspective on coexistence that could revolutionize our understanding of biological harmony. Ambassador Xylith rose from his seat. And if we're wrong, if they use these capabilities for conquest when they reach the stars. Jun smiled again, activating a final piece of footage. It showed a team of human conservation scientists working to save an endangered species of venomous snake, despite its capability to kill them with a single bite. A species that would risk death to save creatures that could kill them, he said quietly, has already moved beyond conquest. They don't see other life forms as weapons or tools. They see them as fellow travelers on the evolutionary journey. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Jun could see the shift in their expressions, the gradual realization that they had discovered something far more valuable than a potential threat. Dr. Zyra Valthine's voice came through his neural link. Professor, we're detecting unusual activity at multiple research sites. The local wildlife, they're behaving as if they're preparing for something. Jun felt a chill run down his spine. Perhaps the universe had decided their debate about Earth's classification needed a practical demonstration. Distinguished council members, he said urgently, I believe we're about to witness firsthand how Earth's unique defensive capabilities function. Something is coming, and if we're wise, we'll learn from how humans and their evolutionary partners handle it. The emergency alerts began blaring before he could say more, and Jun knew that all their theoretical discussions were about to be put to a very practical test. The Arcturian warships materialized in Earth's atmosphere like dark thunderclouds, their stealth systems failing as swarms of bees and birds immediately detected their presence. Ambassador Xylith, now revealed as the mastermind behind the intervention fleet, stood on his command bridge watching the planet's surface through enhanced viewing screens. Begin the neutralization protocol, he ordered. Deploy the suppression fields. But Earth had already begun responding, in ways none of the invasion force had anticipated. Dr. Raj Patel and Dr. Hanako Yashida were at their research station in the Borneo rainforest when the first suppression field activated. The device was designed to disrupt the neural patterns of Earth's weaponized species, rendering them docile and defenseless. Instead, something extraordinary happened. Hanako, are you seeing this? Raj called out, his hands flying over the sensor controls. The local wildlife wasn't being suppressed, they were adapting, evolving in real time. Through their monitors, They watched as colonies of bombardier beetles modified their chemical spray to penetrate the suppression field. Electric eels in nearby rivers began generating new frequencies of bioelectric charge that actually interfered with the Arcturian ship systems. Even the plants were responding, releasing complex chemical signals that spread through the mycological network beneath the forest floor. It's like the whole ecosystem is coordinating, Hanako breathed, recording everything. But how? The answer came from an unexpected source. Professor Jun Nakamura's voice crackled through their emergency comm system. It's the fungi. The mycological networks are acting as a planetary nervous system, allowing species to share adaptive information. Across the globe, similar reports flooded in. Dr. Amara Akoro, monitoring from her medical research facility in Lagos, reported that venomous species were synthesizing entirely new compounds that could bypass the alien suppression technology. Marcus Wong's sensors in Singapore detected structural changes in insects' exoskeletons, developing properties that deflected the Arcturian energy weapons. In orbit, Dr. Zyra Valthine watched in fascination from the celestial seeker. Captain Morden, she called out, her scales flickering with excitement, the humans, they're not running. They're coordinating with their wildlife. Indeed, as the Arcturian forces deployed ground troops, they encountered not panic but organized resistance unlike anything they'd prepared for. Park rangers worked alongside packs of wolves to outmaneuver alien patrols. Marine biologists coordinated with cetacean pods to disrupt undersea deployment zones. Entomologists directed swarms of insects to disable alien technology with precisely targeted chemical compounds. In the Amazon, Dr. Carla Rodriguez, a herpetologist who had spent decades studying snake behavior, found herself leading an unprecedented defensive operation. The constrictors are protecting the research stations, she reported via emergency channels. They've learned to detect and crush the alien drone units, and the poison dart frogs. They've developed a new secretion that shorts out their combat suits. Ambassador Xylith watched in growing horror as his careful plans unraveled. Impossible, he muttered, watching another suppression field generator fall to a coordinated attack by what his sensors identified as a mere honey badger pack. These are just animals. No, came Professor Nakamura's voice, somehow broadcasting directly into the Arcturian command center. They are Earth's immune system, and you've just triggered a planetary-scale immune response. The Arcturian forces found themselves facing not just individual species, but entire ecosystems working in concert. Spiders wove webs of impossible strength across strategic points, channeling attacking forces into areas where other species waited. Cephalopods demonstrated problem-solving abilities that countered alien tactical computers. Even bacteria in the soil began breaking down the molecular structure of advanced alien materials. In orbit, Captain Morden made a decision. Dr. Valthine, contact the Council, they need to see this. The Galactic Council's emergency session witnessed something unprecedented. Footage of humans and Earth's wildlife operating in perfect synchronization to defend their world. Not through advanced technology or weapons of mass destruction, but through cooperation and adaptation. Dr. Yashida's voice carried across all channels as she explained what they were witnessing. The suppression fields didn't fail, they catalyzed something that was always possible but had never been necessary before. The entire planet is demonstrating what we've been trying to explain. Earth species don't just possess defensive capabilities. They possess the ability to combine and evolve those capabilities in response to threats. Ambassador Xylith's forces found themselves not just defeated, but thoroughly outmaneuvered by what they had dismissed as primitive life forms. The final blow to their intervention came when the oceans themselves seemed to rise against them, as marine life coordinated to create devastating wave patterns that disabled their remaining ships. In a remote valley in Bhutan, wildlife researcher Dr. Tenzin Dorji watched in amazement as a snow leopard led a group of displaced civilians safely through mountain passes, avoiding alien patrols with preternatural precision. They're not just defending territory, he reported. They're protecting us, all of us. The crisis reached its turning point not through a decisive battle, but through a demonstration of adaptation that changed galactic understanding forever. The Arcturian forces, faced with an entire planet of life forms that could evolve faster than they could attack, had no choice but to withdraw. In the aftermath, as the Galactic Council convened an emergency session, Professor Nakamura stood again before them, but this time with a different message. What you witnessed wasn't just a defense mechanism. It was a demonstration of what's possible when life forms choose cooperation over competition, adaptation over aggression. Dr. Valthine, her scales now permanently shifted to the colors of Earth's oceans, added, "We came seeking to understand Earth's weapons, but we found something far more powerful. A blueprint for how life itself can transcend its limitations through partnership." The council chamber hummed with new understanding as the implications became clear. Earth hadn't just defended itself, it had demonstrated a new path forward for all species. As the emergency session concluded, Dr. Raj Patel made one final observation from his station in Borneo. "The most remarkable thing isn't that Earth species fought back. It's that now that the threat is gone, they're already adapting again, not to fight but to heal, to grow, to explore. That's the real lesson here. Life on Earth isn't about warfare, it's about endless possibility." And in the forests, oceans, and skies of Earth, countless species continued their ancient dance of cooperation and adaptation, now watched by the galaxy not with fear, but with hope for what such partnerships might mean for the future of all life. 1 year after the Arcturian incident, the gleaming spires of the newly established Earth Biodiversity Institute rose from the heart of the Brazilian rainforest. Dr. Raj Patel stood at its central observation deck, watching as a mixed group of human and alien scientists followed a local guide through the canopy below. Above them, a harpy eagle soared lazily, seemingly unconcerned by the various extraterrestrial beings in its domain. "Remarkable how quickly they've adapted to alien presence," observed Dr. Valthine, her scales shifting through shades of emerald as she joined him at the window. "Just like the rest of Earth's species." "They've had practice," Raj smiled. "Earth's creatures have been adapting to new situations for millions of years. What's a few alien scientists compared to the challenges they've already overcome?" Below them, in one of the Institute's main research chambers, Dr. Hanako Yoshida was leading a breakthrough session that would have been unthinkable just a year ago. Representatives from 17 different alien civilizations watched in amazement as she demonstrated how Earth's spider silk could be used to repair their failing ecosystem habitats. "The molecular structure of dragline silk," Hanako explained, manipulating the holographic display, "can be modified to create self-repairing barriers that protect vulnerable environments. We've already successfully implemented this technology on 3 worlds whose atmospheric shields were failing." Among her audience was Ambassador Xylith himself, no longer a militant opponent but a humble student. His failed invasion had ironically opened the door to something far more valuable than conquest: knowledge. In another wing of the Institute, Dr. Carla Rodriguez worked alongside Zentarian bioengineers, studying how poison dart frogs' defensive secretions could be modified to create new medical treatments. The amphibians, far from being simple test subjects, seemed to actively participate in the research, demonstrating remarkable ability to modify their chemical productions in response to different needs. "They're not just showing us what they can do," Carla explained to a visiting delegation. "They're showing us what's possible when we stop trying to control nature and start collaborating with it." The transformation wasn't limited to Earth. Across the galaxy, worlds that had once feared Earth's dangerous wildlife were now eagerly establishing their own biodiversity programs. Professor Jun Nakamura, traveling between these projects, found himself constantly amazed by the speed of change. On the crystal world of Lyra 9, he watched as Earth-inspired techniques helped restore a dying ecosystem. Local crystalline life forms, once thought to be static and unchangeable, began showing signs of adaptation after exposure to Earth's mycological networks. "The fungi aren't just communicating," Jun explained to the Lyran Science Council, "they're teaching. Every species on Earth has evolved to be both student and teacher in the great dance of adaptation. Now they're extending that dance to the stars." Dr. Tenzin Dorji, who had witnessed the snow leopard's protective behavior during the crisis, now led an interstellar conservation program. His team had successfully introduced Earth's collaborative ecological principles to worlds where species had long been locked in destructive competition. "Watch," he told a group of alien observers on a distant moon, as they observed local predator species beginning to form cooperative relationships with their prey, inspired by Earth's model. "Life always finds a way to balance itself if we give it the chance." Marcus Wung's protective technologies, based on Earth's defensive adaptations, had become the foundation for a new approach to planetary security. Instead of building weapons, worlds began developing living shields, dynamic ecosystems that could adapt to and neutralize threats while supporting life. In the oceans of Europa, Dr. Amara Okoro worked with a team of xenobiologists to apply lessons learned from Earth's marine life to the challenges of deep space exploration. The results were revolutionary, bio-inspired technologies that could adapt to the most extreme conditions in the universe. Earth's oceans prepared us for the cosmos, she often said. Every challenge we face out there, some Earth species has already solved down here. Even the Galactic Council underwent transformation. The former assessment committee was reformed into the Interstellar Ecological Cooperation Initiative, with Dr. Valthine serving as its first director. Her first act was to establish the Planetary Partnership Program, connecting worlds that could benefit from each other's biological innovations. We once classified Earth species as weapons, she told the Council during the initiative's launch. Now we understand they were actually keys to unlocking the potential in every world's ecosystem. The changes weren't always easy. Some worlds struggled to accept the new paradigm, clinging to their old fears of Earth's dangerous wildlife. But the results were impossible to ignore. Planets that adopted Earth's cooperative ecological principles saw their dying ecosystems revive. Worlds that had been locked in biological stagnation began to show new signs of evolution and adaptation. Back at the Earth Biodiversity Institute, Raj watched as a young alien scientist tentatively offered her hand to a butterfly that had landed nearby. The simple creature, displaying the casual fearlessness characteristic of Earth's wildlife, crawled onto her fingers, its wings shimmering with colors her species had never seen before. "That's how it starts," Hanako said softly, joining him at the window. "One small moment of trust between species, one small step toward understanding that what we once feared could be our greatest teacher." Above the institute, the Harpy Eagle still soared, now joined by experimental aircraft designed according to its flight patterns. Below in the soil, mycological networks continued their ancient work of communication and cooperation, now carrying messages between worlds. In the nearby river, electric eels helped power new sustainable energy systems, while dolphins taught alien scientists about advanced sonar principles. "We've come full circle," Jun observed during a global conference that evening. "We once thought we were studying Earth's creatures, but in reality they were teaching us all along. Teaching us that the true power of life lies not in defense or aggression, but in the ability to adapt, to cooperate, to grow together." As night fell over the institute, the sounds of Earth's nocturnal creatures filled the air, their songs now harmonizing with the gentle hum of interstellar research equipment. In laboratories and observation posts across the planet, humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from the most experienced teachers in the galaxy, Earth's own wildlife. And in the darkness, countless species continued their ancient patterns of adaptation and cooperation, no longer seen as weapons or threats, but recognized at last for what they truly were: pioneers of possibility, showing the way toward a future where life in all its forms could thrive together among the stars.